And a strange thing began to happen. The crops in their family's fields started to grow better than anyone else's in the village. The grains were plump and golden, and their harvest was always bountiful. You might think the villagers would be happy for them, but they weren't. Instead, a bitter seed of jealousy took root in their hearts. He must be using some kind of trick. Some would whisper behind his back. Others would openly mock him as he worked, or even break his farming tools when he wasn't looking. The river, usually a source of life, swelled into a raging monster, overflowing its banks and flooding every field. The water destroyed everything. When it finally receded, the land was a barren wasteland of mud and ruin. The harvest was completely lost. A shadow of despair fell over the village. Families had nothing to eat. The laughter of children was replaced by cries of hunger, and their parents sat in helpless silence, their hopes washed away with the crops. But one person had been wise. The young farmer, remembering lean years from his childhood, had carefully saved a portion of his grain from previous harvests. He had enough to keep himself and his parents fed for a long time. He could have easily kept it all for himself, and no one would have blamed him, but his compassionate heart wouldn't allow it. So, under the cloak of darkness, while the rest of the village was asleep, he and his mother would cook hearty meals. Then, he would creep silently through the empty streets, leaving a warm pot of food at each person's doorstep. The next morning, the villagers would awaken to a miracle, food waiting for them right outside their homes. They had no idea who their mysterious benefactor was, but this act of kindness kept them alive, giving them strength and a glimmer of hope in their darkest hour. Yet, even as his secret generosity saved them, their daytime behavior didn't change. They still saw him as an outsider, someone to be suspicious of. But someone had been watching, someone had seen the truth. An old villager, too frail to work in the fields but with eyes as sharp as a hawk's, had been unable to sleep one night. From his window he had watched the young man, his back bent under the weight of the food he carried, moving like a ghost from door to door. The very next day, the villagers gathered in the square, their faces grim, arguing over the last scraps of hope. The old man, leaning heavily on his staff, stood up and silenced the crowd with a raspy but powerful voice. But at that moment, the young prince knelt before the king and queen. "Father, mother, I beg you," he said, his voice clear and steady. "Please, do not harm them. They have been humbled, and they are afraid. If I could find it in my heart to forgive them when they hurt me, how can I possibly punish them now that I have everything? Let us show them mercy, not anger. Let us forgive." The king and queen were deeply moved by their son's profound compassion. The villagers, hearing his plea, wept openly. Not from fear anymore, but from gratitude and awe at the prince's incredible kindness. From that day on, he was known throughout the land not just as the heir to the throne, but as the Prince of Mercy. The farmer and his wife, who had raised him with so much love, were brought to the palace, where they were honored as royal parents and lived in comfort for the rest of their lives. And the story of the kind prince taught everyone a timeless lesson, that cruelty and jealousy may rise like powerful storms, but they are temporary and will always pass. What truly endures, what remains long after the storm is gone, is kindness. For it is kindness that leaves behind a lasting light of hope, forgiveness, and love. Thanks for watching. If you were moved by this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires the heart. See you next time.